Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I just like click go. Did you see the one, like the most recent one with Alex Jones, like him, the two of them talking? Like,
I live for it. I love it.
Are you serious? Like,
I love it.
So I built out like that studio over there because I like the Joe Rogan 4-hour conversation.
I saw it. It looks great.
Yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic. Like it feels real, right? But then I watched Joe Rogan's podcast. I'm 4 hours in. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So you only watch for like 10 minutes at a time, right? So yeah, that type of idea. But we've got like a whole studio over there. So next time in your Miami,
sharp. I'm really jealous.
I appreciate it. Before we start blabbing all that stuff, I got to click like all these buttons to like send it out to the universe. Yeah. And then I have to like, hold on, click that, right click, pause. Okay, so now we're up and running. Cool. So in all disclosure, you and I have never met before.
Correct.
J.R. Rivas connected us.
Yes.
And we maybe talked for like 20, 30 minutes the other day. I was like, all right, we got to like take a next step. So can you tell me a little bit like about yourself? Because all I know is the headline, which is like how I went from a failed college baseball player, right? Yeah. Baseball. Because to launching your agency, make $1 million in the first year. So like, where were you like when you were in college that made you say, oh, this baseball thing won't work out?
Well, I think it's, and I won't bore everybody, but I think it's important for everybody to hear, like I'm from small town, Alabama. Like I grew up in northwest sticks of Alabama. And like, I was the first person to go to college in my entire lineage, like my entire family. Yeah. So when you grow up in small town USA, I'm sure there's some people who might be able to relate with this, regardless of what country they're in. The demographic, the culture, the economy, we lived on Friday night lights and hoping to goodness we get a sports scholarship because we're not competing with the big city ACT and SAT scores. And, our moms and dads work in textiles and lumber factories and furniture mills. And so literally like 2 months after I played baseball all my life, I was a catcher. I kind of had the narrow gait, if you will. So not many people will wear the tools of ignorance like I would.
What's a narrow gate?
It's the narrow gate that no one wants to be the catcher. And so if you'll be the catcher, you actually have a chance. If you like hone your craft, you have a chance of going to the next level because there's just less competition, right?
Gotcha.
Now it gets more specialized as you go. So anyway, long story short, I'm living in 5,000. I graduated literally with 97 people, and 2 months before college starts in the fall, like I don't know where I'm going to school, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I get a Division I scholarship invite to a small liberal arts school here in Birmingham, Alabama, called Samford University.
Cool.
End up playing baseball there. Well, when you grow up in small town, you're the big fish in the little pond, right? And so it's easy to get your name in the newspaper in the Northwest Alabamian, right? But when you get to college, it's not the same pond and bigger fish. And so I quickly became the 10th man, the 12th man on the roster that saw very little daylight. And I grew up thinking I was going to play for the Atlanta Braves.
Right.
I thought I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life, much less, how to survive college baseball. And so college baseball turned out to be the dream that really was soured ultimately for me in life. And so, and obviously there's a whole lot of life here that we're not going to dig into, but eventually post-college, I realized that I'm actually a sales guy. Like I'm an entrepreneur. My dad was a middleman lumber salesman growing up. Mm-hmm. And, sales gets a bad rap. What I mean by that is I just really love the whole capitalism game. I love creating cash injections. I love conversions. I love persuasion. I love creating offers that convert. And so I started honing in, like many of us in this group, I started trying to find a craft, acquire a skill, find an arrow that I can put in my quiver. And man, I took Amy Porterfield's first Facebook advertising course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And started my first online business, which was called at the time Groovy Bicycle.
So before we go into
Yeah.
Groovy Bicycle and Amy Porterfield and all that,
Sure.
let's take a step back to like you graduate from high school.
Yeah.
2 weeks before or 2 months before like college kicks in, you have no idea where you're going. Out of the blue, you get an invitation to a scholarship to what could have been your forever job as a baseball player, right? And your dream was always the Atlanta Braves and going to like a super awesome thing. And like you're going, I came from a small town, but it was a big deal in a small town. And then all of a sudden you go to college and everything changed, right?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you weren't dead last, but you were a small fish in a very, very big ocean, right?
Riches to rags.
Riches to rags. Oh, I like that. That's very cool. Yeah. So like when you're going through like your college experience, were you saying I'm going to work really, really hard at baseball and like get really, really good at being a catcher? Or were you kind of like reading the writing on the wall and like, all right, maybe this isn't going to work. I need a backup plan. Like what were your thoughts and feelings during those like 4 years where you're trying to find you, but you wasn't quite working out?
That's a good question. And I think if I'm super honest and human with you, I had cognizant dissonance. Like I knew the truth was I was not made for like Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But I kept going and pursuing like an android. Like I just had this androgynous pursuit of my dream of what I really wasn't built for. And I kept going, which to some extent, there's a little bit of, Notre Dame Rudy in that, keep trying, don't give up.
Notre Dame Rudy. Wait, what was that? I don't do sports at all. I've never like followed sports.
Yeah, there's a movie called Rudy. That what's the guy who plays Samwise Gamgee in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, okay.
He's Rudy. Everybody watching this except for you knows what I'm talking about. It's cool.
I'm not kidding. Like people bring up sports references, and I'm like
yeah,
I don't get them.
It's about Rudy was just a guy who walked on the Notre Dame football team and finally got in the game and. Whatever, but
was that the Mark Wahlberg movie? No.
No.
I don't know anything about sports.
It's okay. Bottom line is, I kept trying, but it was just there's something about knowing self-awareness, for lack of better words.
Gotcha.
Like at some point you got to embrace the truth. Like there's a lot of people watching this right now who probably are just they're just going to stink at sales.
Yep.
They're just because they're either not passionate about it or maybe they just don't have the right talent stack or the toolkit. That doesn't mean they can't get sales. There's other ways obviously to do that. So, I just pursued it blindly and wasn't very honest with myself until the 4 years was up. And then I was like, wow, I have an international relations degree. What do you do with that?
Right. So you had this like really strange like coming to age moment. Is that fair? Like where you're like, this is not turning out the way I planned. And I had the same exact experience because like when I graduated, it was like I had a degree in finance and I graduated in 2007, which meant the financial world was exploding, right? Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. Bear Stearns went bankrupt overnight. Yeah. And my speaker was actually the vice president of Bear Stearns. And the week before they declared bankruptcy and it was too late to change everything. Right. And so I had a similar experience of like, well, now what? And that's what you went through, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you started to find Josh 2.0. Is that fair to say, right? And so is that when you found Amy Porterfield in your first course, or was that different altogether?
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of W-2 job chasing for a few years,
Yeah.
Just got out there into the workforce and did some stuff. But like I said, at some point I was honest with myself and I just started looking around going, man, my mom and dad told me to get a college degree and a job, but like, man, I really just need to do something for myself.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go crazy. And honestly, it was as much about time and financial freedom. Yeah, it was about that. But like, it was also just about not being miserable because of the literal fabric of my DNA was being challenged every day.
Yeah.
In a job. And that's not my original story. Obviously there's a lot of people who face that, so you start clawing, you just start trying to claw your way out of the sand trap.
Yeah.
And the first Vine that I got a hold of was Amy Porterfield's first. I remember it was delivered. The course that I took was delivered on a Lead Pages landing page. It wasn't
Really?
It wasn't even gated. It was a video with a no, it wasn't an upsell. It was the literal delivery of the course was a Lead Pages page with a video embed, and that was it. Like,
how long ago was this?
I mean, 2010, 11 maybe.
So this was like pre ClickFunnels Tribe, right?
Yeah.
This is when like it was on Lead Pages or Lead Funnels or something like that. Was this the first time you actually looked into like Facebook ads and agency work, or it was like, oops, I just clicked on a thing and discovered it?
Yeah, I think the rabbit hole was direct response marketing just in general, and the whole GKIS, Kennedy and all some of those old granddads of the world, and Gary Halbert, boron letters, and just stuff that I still read, but I just started going down the road. But then it's like, wow, these guys have unbelievable ways of making money, but like, how do I leverage technology? And then a friend of mine said, oh, well, Facebook. And because of course, Facebook was blowing up at the time, and Facebook ads were nothing like they are now. I mean, so primitive. Looks more like LinkedIn ads than they do Facebook ads now. And so, I just remember taking that course and going, okay, I started a Shopify store. Yeah. I got a hold of some guy's drop shipping spreadsheet with 3,000 drop shipping possible products on it. Yeah. Had no idea what I was doing. And I thought, oh, I'll drop ship fixed gear bicycles from a warehouse in San Francisco.
Why not? Right? That's totally going to work, right?
Because I know everything about fixed gear bicycles, being a hipster from Northwest Alabama. Yeah. Not really. And so I started running Facebook ads to Chicago and Boston and LA and New York. And, they had geo-targeting, whatever. And I was selling some bicycles, but I had no idea how to run a business. Yeah. And needless to say, Groovy Bicycle crashed and burned hard. And from that, everything else now that I enjoy is kind of like the phoenix from the ashes. So the e-commerce attempt, not that e-commerce is a bad business model, it's just that I didn't know what I was doing, but you kind of got to fail. Like, you need to, something needs to get hurt. Yeah. You got to have some battle scars. Not that you have to necessarily do it just to get hurt or just to fail, but I quickly realized that I wasn't actually an e-commerce guy. I really respect it. I really wish I was to some extent, but I'm just not geared for it. I knew I after some experimentation and moving on, I quickly realized that I'm more of a consultant, teacher, service provider type personality, and an educator to some extent. Yep. And so, I'll stop rambling and let you take over. But that was kind of like the fire where I burnt my first dream.
So, baseball player, it's not working out. Trying to get a job because your parents say you have to get a job, and everybody assumed you have to get a job after college. Right. Chase the W-2. I think that's a great phrase, by the way, like chasing W-2s. Yeah. And then you go down a rabbit hole of the internet, and you stumble upon Amy Porterfield. You're like, Facebook is a thing. Yeah. And you take some Shopify course or pay for some sheet or get your hands on it. And from that, you start Groovy Bicycles. Is that correct?
Right. And I think the point that I skipped was, hey, I sold some bicycles to a bunch of people that have no idea who I am through Facebook, that looked at a picture of a bike and clicked on it and went to my, stupid, low optimized e-commerce store, and they bought it. And I just remember going, this is it. Even though it failed, even though I didn't know what I was doing, I was like, it's like, the Joe Rogan, Alex Jones interdimensional conversation opens up, and I can see the aliens. I know that this is a real thing. I can actually communicate through this thing called Facebook. And that's when the barn doors got blown off.
So people bought some of your bikes from your Facebook ads, which holy shit, this could actually work. Yeah. Right? Totally. It didn't work well, and it didn't work for long. but somehow the gears aligned, the stars aligned, you put money in, you got more money out, but the darn thing bombed anyway.
Yes.
From that, you learned, and then you started doing what was after that?
Yeah, so I learned that cash flow is king, basically. When it comes to starting a business, you got to have oxygen, and cash is oxygen to any business. And that's huge for a lot of the agency owners that might be listening to this, because, if you're not injecting cash consistently on the front end of your business cycle, it becomes very hard to grow and scale if you want to scale.
Yep.
I think the next step was, okay, I had a realization moment. I kind of had that blue pill, red pill moment. And I realized that there was a matrix out there that I could participate in. And I realized that I'm not an e-commerce guy. What else could I do? Well, I actually learned from Amy that she can sell courses.
Yeah.
And I see everybody else doing all this stuff. And so it's like the curtain opened up and I could see the internet marketing world, the digital world as it is. And I got Frank Kern has a PDF. It was a PDF then, and now it's one of his free plus shipping offers. It's about this size. It's about consulting. I got that consulting PDF. So I'm just like everybody else watching this. I'm just picking up breadcrumb trails every chance I can find them, and I just start honing in, that information and self-education and self-development. And I start realizing, okay, I can be a consultant. Yep. I can teach people how to do this thing called Facebook. I can teach people how to do this. Because, if my eyes were opening, like the whole world was still blind to what the possibilities were. And I know a lot of people, even watching this show, like we're all jaded. We all we've been, it's almost like overexposed. And I think a lot of the folks in a group like this, it's like they know too much when it comes to marketing and conversions and pixels and stuff like that, but they miss what it's like to grow a business and own a business and run a business. Like there's a lot of the business ownership stuff that hopefully I can impart to people who are just a couple steps back. And so that's when, wow, there's just so many details I'm going to jump over, but basically with a business partner who was really my home inspector before he was anything else.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was working for Truett Cathy's Chick-fil-A WinShape Foundation. Okay, this is one of those W-2s that I chase. It was actually a pretty darn good job. And I was doing events for them. And we moved to Georgia, and I Googled home inspector. For whatever reason, I was having to get a home inspector. I can't remember why in that process. So anyway, instead of the lender, so I Googled it, and I found this guy. His name was Sam, and I talked to Sam. And the next thing I know, my home inspector and his family become really close family friends with me and my family. Yeah. And we start realizing we're entrepreneurs, and we're in the same plight. And we start acquiring different skills through different jobs. So he actually leaves home inspection and goes and becomes an auto dealer junk mail salesman. Like he's selling the postcards that you get 80 of in your mailbox every week. He's selling it.
He sells stuff that goes straight into the trash can.
Yeah. He sells junk mail is what he used to say.
Yeah.
And he cut his teeth on just nose to nose, talking you into buying his $8,000 to $20,000 junk mail, direct mail product to possibly the hardest customer on the planet, which is a general manager at a car dealership, right?
Yeah.
So he was really, really, really good, like top sales guy out of 50 people who are on Southwest airline flights all over the country. So Sam is bringing that, and I think there's a big lesson here for everybody watching. Sam's bringing that skill set and that passion. He actually loved doing it.
Yeah.
Bring that passion to the table. And I leave the last W-2 job that I had was working for an old college baseball teammate of mine who became a serial entrepreneur. His name's Casey Graham. And Casey, when I became his primary sales guy. He had won Infusionsoft Marketer of the Year. I think it was in 2014, 13 maybe.
Nice.
And we were launching a high ticket course called Get Paid Daily. And it sounds skeezy, but it was really a great product. And so it taught business owners how to create membership sites and get paid, have like predictable recurring revenue for course makers and consultants and coaches. Well, I was the high ticket sales guy for him. And he and I just did like we created this little fiefdom. We created this little niche inside of Infusionsoft users, and we just sold to Infusionsoft users. We sold.
Oh, his internet just cut out.
Course, and there's a lot of success stories. I could name some marketers out there right now. I won't do it from privacy. I could name some out there right now that came out of Get Paid Daily, and you'd be shocked.
Yeah.
But we had I had an unbelievable experience. I was like, for the first time, another revelation. I was like, I was closing $5,000 tickets over a 30-minute call with someone who had no idea who I was. Right. It wasn't because I was like this special golden child. It was because the opportunity to see a bleeding neck pain in an avatar and to provide a good offer and a solution that solves that problem. Just the planet started to align. I started to understand economics, and I started to understand marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Well, from that experience, the whole while I was learning more about Facebook ads and webinars and how to do consults and strategy calls. And Sam and I started working together, and we started doing various other side projects and almost like sales mercenary projects. And we looked around one day and we were just like, why are we doing this for other people still?
Yeah.
And just looked at the economics and said sayonara to our jobs. And we just looked out into the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is huge too, for a lot of people maybe they're freelancing right now and they're watching, or maybe they have an agency. And it's kind of like American Idol. Mm-hmm. You probably have a great voice, but if you pick the wrong song, it's going to be detrimental. You might get kicked off. And a lot of people right now watching this might be like spinning their wheels in the mud. The thing that I think when going back to your original question about 2 Comma Club in 10 months type stuff, I think obviously the ways we got to that, one of the primary reasons was because we, and this is not an original idea to me, we niched down, but we looked out into a sea of possibilities. We could sell to dentists.
Yeah.
We could sell to, plastic surgeons or lawyers or whatever. And we thought, okay, we both own rental properties. Mm-hmm. We both have bought and sold at least 7 or 8 houses a piece because we moved a lot. He had been a home inspector. We were very familiar with the real estate agent population.
Yeah.
And so we thought, let's just try that.
Okay. So before I go into that, which is like a cool transition.
And while you make the transition, I'm going to plug my computer up. I'm like 3 feet away.
Okay, cool. He watches like computer just shuts down right now. So can you still hear me or no?
Oh yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. So like my understanding is you're chasing W-2s. You're working for another serial entrepreneur, and he's in the Infusionsoft space, and you're on the phone with people that are spending $5,000 with you, and you don't know them for 30 minutes. You're just in the right place at the right time, the right marketing and sales. You end up running into a guy who's a home inspector, and you're realizing, all right, maybe I found my business partner because he also has experience in selling $5,000 to $20,000 programs for flyers. And you're going, why can't we just do this for ourselves? Is that about right?
100%.
And is that what powered you through the 2 Comma Club in 10 months, Dream Car, all that stuff? Like, can you talk about like that next phase of all that stuff?
Yeah, I think that's it's the Energizer battery in the back of the bunny, was just the anthropology that Sam and I brought to the table, and the history there. And I think it's important, like for those of you who have a partner or need a business partner, like you may actually need a partner and you don't know it or you don't want to admit it, whatever that is. It's again, a self-awareness task. But yeah, what we did was we got really ruthless. We got obsessive about less stuff and created, you're familiar with the Brunson's value ladder? Russell Brunson's value ladder. So he talks about it a little bit in Expert Secrets, but more.com.
Do you just have like a stack of books like right next to you?
Oh yeah, I have. Well, it's no different than you. We're all reading, like,
yeah.
We're all trying to like. I've got like this Chinese buffet of books on my table. But I'm always just like,
Chinese buffet.
Oh, I need a little Mongolian beef. I'm gonna grab a fork. You know, I need a little Gary Halbert today. Yeah. So the thing, this is huge. What I'm about to say, because. And I don't think we did it because we were master scientists, sales funnel geniuses. I think we just, I don't know, maybe just keeping it country simple was in my benefit this time. But we looked at the value ladder. You know, you could go out and you can sell $97 services. You know, you can go out and you can try to close $25,000 contracts. You know, kind of whale fishing. But we found that in the middle of the value ladder, if appropriately like engineered, if your value ladder is an honest value ladder, and I can talk about that if needed, but if your value ladder is accurate, the deliverables in the middle of the value ladder are just high enough to create a lot of client success and results, but not so high that you're working 18 hours a day.
So it's like a fair and honest relationship.
It's like the most profitable place to operate as a business for the first year at least. We didn't have a secondary offer until 16 months into the business.
Gotcha.
So there's more profit margins for your time. So if you're trading time for money, make sure that you have the middle of the value ladder offer created. And I can give examples of what that might look like, but it's usually definitely a 4-figure price tag for the most part, because basically when you get above $1,000, depending on what your overhead is, and for most freelancers or agencies, there's not a lot of overhead. You got to get right above that or a little beyond that 4-figure mark so that you can inject enough cash into the hopper to keep moving the ball down the tracks until you get to a place where you either choose you want to be a lifestyle business or an enterprise business.
Is that what helped power you through to the Dream Car and the 2 Common Club, like having a thorough understanding of your value ladder? Is that right?
Yeah, but honestly, it's also in hindsight's 2020. Like I look back on it going, because we just changed our revenue model completely for our business too. Like we just changed the engine in the middle of the air, and I can talk about that, but if we would have started the way we are now, we would not be where we are now. If we'd have been charging the price points that we are now, we would not be where we are now, because we would not have been able to make up enough cash ground, enough revenue to pay and underwrite the operation for speed. So yeah, that's what pushed us through, is just living in the middle of the value ladder. But we didn't, you know, in order to scale a business, basically, if you nail the middle value ladder offer and it's a repeatable unit and it's predictable, at some point you delegate or replicate that out. You know, maybe you get a sales team, maybe you get a lead generating, you know, marketer that can kind of crush the sales for you and take care of that middle value ladder. And then you can build out back end offers or front end offers. And that's how you scale.
So one of the bullet points, and I think this ties in what you're hinting at, is like one of the bullet points is like how you met your first client and turned what you did with them into a multiple 6-figure revenue model, right? Is that exactly what you're talking about right here? Like you nailed the middle value ladder, you said this is what we're doing, and then you just started spinning it up. Is that correct? Is that about right?
1,000%.
Can you talk about how you met that first client and like that relationship, and then how you turn that into like a repeatable process? Because I think like this is still a challenge for me, looking to like, you know, figure out the secret to scaling, which is what I'm doing. And I can do it 2 or 3 or 4 times, but I can't spin it up beyond that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, how did that turn out for you?
So we chose real estate agents and we worked for free, but not for long. We actually worked for free simultaneously with selling. So you just got to go sell. I can't say that enough, but we grabbed a small portfolio of local real estate agents, and they were our no risk guinea pigs. That is, they weren't paying us any money, but they had to commit to following up with the leads and doing what we tell them to do, et cetera. Using their brand as our umbrella so that we can, generate leads for them. And so there they were like our petri dish. We learned a lot there, what works, what doesn't work in the real estate space, getting listing leads, getting buyer leads, all that good stuff, and just literally building our tribal knowledge of the inside underbelly of the agency industry, or the real estate agency industry, brokerage industry. And then over here, we're selling. We're just simultaneously running our own funnel, selling customers, and just going, improving our own concept and doing, selling and marketing our own business and creating cash and getting phone calls and leaning into, because what we've discovered really quick was that agents just have a massive bleeding neck problem. They don't know where their next commission check's coming from, period. In the story. 87% of them fail in the first 3 to 5 years. Well, they also are just technically local businesses. And so what we did is we created an offer in the middle of the value ladder that was that it vacillated between $2,000 and $4,000.
Okay.
Just depending on where we were in the journey. And that created enough profit margin to pay for me and Sam's families. So I have a family of 5, he has a family of 4. And we were just able to keep taking one step in front of the other. All the while, you're learning and educating and not only developing as an adolescent business owner and figuring out systems, but you also start looking around going, okay, if I can do this for local agents in Birmingham, if I can do this for local agents in Louisville, Kentucky, and technically I can do this as long as the industry doesn't really change from market to market, which it doesn't in real estate or insurance or dentistry or whatever else, then I can basically be a local marketer all over North America.
Yeah.
And so when we finally lifted the imposter lid, we got rid of our imposter syndrome, and we lifted our lid of limitation in that, oh, wow, we're not just a local marketing agency and consultancy.
Yeah.
We're actually a nationwide brand. And so we got in the ring and just started throwing right hooks at Zillow as hard as we could.
Yeah.
And just took it to them. And, it's kind of one of those things, like if you're trying to go in and create some market share for yourself and there's a Coca-Cola in the space and you want to be Pepsi, Pepsi's not talking, they're not talking about Dr. Pepper or Sprite and Sundrop and whoever else they want to compete with. They're talking about Coca-Cola, and that's it. Look, they're the only ones that exist in the ring, and that's kind of what we did. And we found a lot of angry red ocean agents out there who were mad at Zillow, and we were able to bring it home and create some cash, and at the same time harvesting success stories.
So if I'm understanding correctly, you started launching a Facebook ads business that also coached real estate agents in small town USA. Is that like a fair headline, right?
Yeah, and then small town turned into mid cap and Manhattan.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so the way you found your clients was saying, all right, we'll do it for free. We'll take the hit or whatever it is. At the same time, you're also honing your sales skills, trying to sell different realtors. So you got your beta cohort, right? It's free. Just promise to do your stuff and don't be bad at your job. And while you're getting comfortable with that, you're selling on the side to kind of generate the cash, right?
100%.
So that's happening, but you also have a value ladder that pays your bills and keeps your families fed, right? So can you go into what that value ladder looked like? Because sometimes it's 0 and then 97 and then 10 grand, or is it 97 and 397? Or what did your value ladder look like around this time?
Yeah, well, that's kind of my point. It's almost like we lived on the middle step of our value ladder for 16 months. We didn't sell a $97 product until last summer. We've been in business for over 3 years. We didn't sell a tripwire product until last summer. We didn't sell a higher ticket mastermind until last spring. And so we literally just lived on that $2,000 to $4,000 offer.
Yeah.
And, that can look like a quarter of prepaid done for you services. It could look like that,
Yeah.
Like if you're just starting your agency and you're just trying to figure out what your value ladder is, just do quarterly billing on a done for you service for a particular niche. And you can.
Okay. All right. So we got to pause right there. I think that's like really, really smart, right? So you started agency journey at high ticket, like 1 to 3K, right? You're like, it's going to be high ticket, right?
Yes.
And then you said it's going to be, I would have feared to be saying like, look, you were selling 90-day programs and you just got to pay all up front. Is that about right?
100%. Yeah.
All right. So that's like an easy digestible thing. So for everybody watching, like that is your like easy to take away from this interview process, which is you're just starting out. Don't do 30-day things and don't do them for $500. Sell a 90-day program, build up front, and you're going to make $2,000 to $4,000, which is how you paid your bills and got moved in the right direction, right?
Yes, because 90-day runway is just kind of like, especially in real estate, like you're not selling a house in under 90 days, even if you have a referral lead, much less a Facebook lead. So like it's in their best interest to work with you longer than 30 days. And if you've got prospects who are only want to do 30 days, well, then they're they're not qualified to work with you, So quarterly, the quarterly approach, and that's just one way of many, allows you to have cash now.
Yeah.
And the thing that you're going to fight against is, am I good enough to be holding their money until the deliverable is fulfilled? And the answer is yes. And don't say that again. Like if I'm your coach, I'm just going to slap you in the face and tell you, go get to work and enjoy the cash of the bank. Build your war chest, because that's what's going to allow you to perpetuate the business. Is just sell the next 3-month contract up front. And there's a water line. So you might decide, hey, I've got 50 leads this month. I'm going to convert 10% of them. Maybe it's, so I'm going to get 5 new clients this month. They're all going to pay me $997 a month, or they can pay me upfront $2,000 or whatever the math comes out. Give them a good deal on a quarterly bill. And so I'll get $2,000 hits. Well, if you guys are in the ClickFunnels world and you're trying to get to the 2 Comma Club fast, there's your answer. So you start stacking the Stripe payments,
nice.
The cash payments, and that's how you get there. But you're building your cash, and you're doing now. The thing to remember is you've got to make sure, though, in the middle of that value ladder, that your deliverable is scalable to some extent. I'm not saying you need to be like hard coding websites and doing all their graphic design for them, and also doing Facebook ads, and also building sales. Like that's crazy. You need to get scalpel-like. You don't need to be the Swiss Army knife. Be the scalpel that gets paid in quarterly chunks.
What I've discovered and try to communicate to people on their journey, especially people watching this interview, is make call it a program. Like I call mine the Wallet Out campaign. There's 7 steps, right? So that's it. That's the program. No custom work. It doesn't change. This is the thing, right? And maybe you can argue that like, okay, it's 2 Facebook ads instead of 3, or like we changed the headline, but it's like 95% the same. So when that happens, by the way, you can effectively copy and paste campaigns every time you get that rebilling. Is that about the right way to think about this?
Absolutely. Yes.
Gotcha. So you met your first client, right? And then you started doing this copy and paste campaign. So I bet you're running Facebook ads to get realtors that want Facebook ads, right?
Yes.
Cool. Get them on the phone, sell them on the program, just like your friend did, just like you did when you're working at the Infusionsoft reseller. They're going to say, great, and you're used to selling 5 to 20K programs, but instead you're selling to 2 to 4, no big deal, right? Yeah. Did you fulfill these orders yourself? Like, did you handle the deliverable? Did you send it out, or what did that, like, taking care of your client look like for you?
For the first 2 months, the answer is yes. And it was hard. It was, it was a lot of work. And so I don't want to imply to anybody that you're not going to work long nights, or you don't need to ever. That I think when you're proving a concept, which is exactly what you're doing in startup, and or if you're trying to go from 10K to 50K, basically until you get to 50K, that's all about your offer ish. Like it's kind of like honing in on what is it that they really want. I keep kind of charismatically persuading people into being my customer. Like you can, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of like good old boy your way into economics for a little while.
Yeah.
But then when you want to go to 50 to 100, it's all about what's the script. Like we now can finish sentences for real estate agents because we've done 25,000 phone calls. Well, who paid for those 25,000 calls? The $2,000 to $4,000 quarterly offer did. And so you just keep building and optimizing. And so 2 months in, we hired our first digital marketer who was kind of like R2-D2 on the back of the X-Wing. Like it was just like, hey, we need you to do customer success. We need you to build this campaign. We need you to answer these support emails, all that stuff, so that Sam and I could keep going out and getting leads and closing deals. So that was the rhythm. And then now we got a team of 21 people that help us.
Holy shit!
Do all the stuff.
I had no idea it was like so many people. That's insane. So you start off, you have a free trial, and you're trying to work on your sales skills, which you've got because of your background. You end up getting some success. You spin it off into your sales process, goes back, and your prices raise up. The whole time you're starting off in the middle of value ladder, not a $97 thing or $10,000 thing. You're saying it's going to be $1,000 a month, and it's 90 days, and if you prepay, we'll give you a discount. So you're getting $2,000, $3,000 hits, and preferably 2 or 3 times a day. So your family's fed, and you feel okay. Cool, right? Then you start running Facebook ads. Then you hire the digital marketing back end, and you've freed yourself, and now you've got a repeatable process. Is that about right?
Absolutely. That's it.
And did you have a back end offer as well, or when did that come in? Because I know you do like in-person events at your home. Was that like part of your initial idea, or that kind of like changed completely?
Yes and no. The current in-person workshops is actually not for real estate agents. It's for agencies and consultants and business owners. But we introduced a back-end offer late in the game to real estate agents, and it was it too is an in-person workshop. But what happens when you start to kind of like make babies in business, like.
I love these analogies.
Hey, dude, I can barely read and write English, so I have to speak in word pictures. Like I'm the ultimate.
I have to speak in word pictures.
I'm like the ultimate epiphany bridge for Russell Brunson. So you basically go, okay, I know how much it costs for me to buy a booking or buy a consult. And you get statistical significance. Like statistical significance is our best friend.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to have predictability and reliance. And we started tracking everything, man. We started tracking show up percentages to our calls. We hired literally still the same gal who just every night logs into our sales calendar. All our sales guys, tag the calls, no shows, lost, sales, all that stuff. We've got metrics that we run the business by. It's kind of like you get to a point where, hey, Sam and I used to be in the Cessna kind of looking out the window and landing it on the country airfield. Now we have to drive the plane, fly the plane with the instruments and not out the windshield anymore. But that's beautiful because when you are a metric-based business owner and you're able to you got pressure valves and gas and brake pedals, it allows you to it's making babies. Like every metric that you solidify is a baby that you've birthed in your business. And now your job is to nurture those babies and just identify which babies actually need milk and sleep and all that stuff. Like, hey, if you're in an agency, guess what? You're going to have a churn rate, and it's going to eat your lunch if you don't change its diaper.
Yep.
Like it's going to kill you. We have a meeting twice a week about churn in our company. So anyway, I get passionate. That's where I really get passionate. It's like start helping people turn their little agency into a business, their freelance entrepreneurial seizure into a repeatable like asset that they can leverage so that they're not working for it anymore.
Gotcha. That's super interesting. When did you won your ClickFunnels award or your Two Comma Club, your $1 million in a year award? Was that like last year that you won that 2000?
No, I want to say we were in one of the early batches. We started in early 16. So we qualified early 17. And I think that funnel hacking live in 17 is when we were technically recognized. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Was that the one in like Orlando, Tampa, or no? Maybe Dallas? I keep missing up myself.
No, it was, I think it was the Orlando one. We didn't actually go. We were just like, the name was called, we weren't there.
Like, oh, I didn't know we were winning this award. That's so funny. That's awesome.
They mailed it to us.
I love how you're being like human and honest with it. You're like, no, I'm not good at this stuff. I'm good at this stuff. You have to focus on the middle, spin it out. You did a free trial. Like, I think your story is absolutely fantastic, especially when you had that self-awareness. You're like, baseball ain't going to work out. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And you allowed yourself to fail, allowed yourself to be better. You've employed people. You developed a whole value ladder behind it. Absolutely fantastic. For everybody watching right now, we can start moving to Q&A. So if you've got any questions, now's the time, because I have Josh until 2:00. So we've got 5 minutes of Q&A. Then I'm going to announce the strategy sessions if you guys want to have a one-on-one session.
Cool.
So let me just see what's going on here, and then we'll take it from there. Brian says, do you have to have a real estate license to do real estate ads? How does that work?
You do not, which really kind of answers the question. You just what you do have to adhere to local board rules, real estate boards, and the universal fix for that is all the ads just need to make sure that they have at minimum their MLS number, their contact information. Some boards are more strict than other boards, local boards. Some brands like Remax or Century 21 are a local mom and pop real estate agency. Like the mom and pops are going to be less concerned with their T's and C's as Keller Williams and corporate are. And so they've got their own police dogs out there. But ultimately, you're kind of the wizard behind the curtains, and the agent is, liable, for lack of a better word. So they're going to bark at you if you do something wrong. But no, you do not have to be a licensed real estate agent to run ads.
And if you get it wrong, it's not like the worst thing in the world, right? You just go in and you change the ad again, right?
1,000%. It's not a big deal.
Okay, cool. Wim says, are you saying that we need to start a bit lower on the value ladder and build up the middle? Do we have to start in the middle and build lower? What are your thoughts on that, and how should we think about it?
No, what I'm saying is start in the middle. What I'm saying is you need to have a price point that makes you feel almost greedy. Like you need to feel, it needs to sound aggressive, but if you design your offer right, and this is the big thing, like offer architecture, do not take it for granted. You need a good offer. It needs to be multi-layer. Don't just go say, I'm selling a Facebook ad service. You want to buy some? Like, that's not it. You're
I did it. It doesn't work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because you're commodity. I mean, we're a commodity otherwise. I mean, there's 30-something thousand people in your group. Yeah. Like, you're the fastest way for you to look like a sack of potatoes and rice bags on a train going west is to just say that. So you've got to build, hey, like build an offer and brand it. Like for the money line workshop that we do, we have the money line protocol, which is lead gen, sales scripting, and order architecture, offer architecture. Well, we branded that, right? I'm kind of, pulling the curtain back here. Well, the money line protocol is something that I can weaponize your business with so that you can have a middle of the value ladder offer to get you to 7 figures. Well, you need to do that for your end client. You need to have the dentist, teeth cleaning accelerator package or whatever that is. And it includes this, and this, and this. And it's a quarterly package, and you can renew or you can stop at, month 3, but you got to do 3 months with me because statistically that's the best success ramp time. You're going to get the most ROI from it, blah, blah, blah. It's $1,000 a month. You can have it today for $2,000.
Very, very cool. Isaac says, can you explain what you teach at your at-home workshops? How does that look? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I kind of alluded to it, but we spend a day with you. It's the 1-6-12 framework, okay? So we spend one day with you in person or virtually. Okay. So if you just can't hop on a plane and come to Birmingham to our headquarters, we'll do it virtually with you, me and Sam and my marketing assistant, Tabby. And the one day with you is focused on you and other entrepreneurs, helping you identify your offer, which is 99 times out of 100, the breakthrough moment of the day for most entrepreneurs that spend time with us is us helping you literally create your offer that's going to be rock solid, airtight, and sellable and scalable. Because you can create an offer that sounds really good, but it's like tying a cinder block to your ankle and jumping in the Hudson. Like you're going to drink. Yeah, you're done. So we help you build your offer. We help you build your sales script. And we help you know where to advertise and what to say to get those bookings and get those consults.
Gotcha.
And then that's the one day. The 6 months is you have unlimited access to Sam and myself via Voxer for 6 months. And then we have 12 months in a private group, Facebook group like this for workshop and virtual workshop attendees only.
Do you do something similar for your real estate agents as well? You have a coaching program for them too, right?
Yeah. And so we complement our done for you services with done with you and do it yourself stuff. That's kind of like the hub and spoke for the first person who asked about the middle of the value ladder. Once you get that repeatable unit middle of the value ladder and you're ready to grow your business, at some point you've got to tack on other things that either make you more competitive in the marketplace so that you can sell more of your middle value ladder, or so that you can just our marketer on our digital marketer on our team now has a metric of like $10,000 in low ticket sales, you know, selling like, we've got a free plus shipping funnel of our own. It's got 2 upsells. We've got little courses and follow-up modules and stuff like that we sell people. But then those almost always, it's like the yellow brick road, and, you know, lead them back to our core go forward middle of the value ladder offers. And so, for everybody watching this, keep it simple. Start with the hub of the wheel and grow out from there once you are replicating and delegating.
Very cool. Well, I want to bring the sucker to a close, and then we're going to have one more Q&A, and then we'll bring it to a close. This is Josh Rhodes. He shared a really interesting story about how he's supposed to be, or everybody told him he was supposed to be this like rock star baseball player. Didn't quite work out, right? Chased the W-2 train, failed, lost it all, made it all back, but had this like really cool moment where somebody bought his bike from his bike ads, or drop shipping bike from his bike ads. And then that makes stuff line up. You're like, oh my God, I could do this. Started doing Facebook ads at Facebook Ads for real estate agents, and built out effectively $1 million business in less than a year because you were focusing on the middle part of your value ladder and saying it's a 90-day program, like a brand name program. We just bill you all at once. And started running Facebook ads to it and started stacking those Stripe payments again and again. And you tie that in with your Dream Car Award, with your 2 Comma Club, having multiple 6-figure business. The darn thing worked, and it turns out it's easier and repeatable than anything. I mean, imagine you're not going to sell $1 million worth of bikes on the internet, right? It just wouldn't have happened. But you can do it with coaching programs and Facebook ads for real estate agents, which is awesome.
That's right.
Josh has agreed to 3 15-minute strategy sessions. So if you feel like if you could get on the phone with Josh, and if that would help you move forward and solve your problems and double your business in less than 30 days, whatever tagline, like I'm still on a Grant Cardone high from 10X, right? If you really want to get in touch with Josh Rhodes and help figure out the next steps for your agency, just hashtag Josh Rhodes my face. And Josh and I got to figure out 3 people to have a one-on-one session with him. You can ask him any questions you like about the hub and spoke, about doing your 2 to 4K billings, any and all of that type of fun stuff. Just a few more questions, and then we'll take it from there. Rich says, how is your value ladder or funnel that leads your leads to your in-person event? How does that work? Is it 97, 2 to 4K, and then 5K? What are your thoughts and opinions on that?
To the in-person event, no, it's just, hey, are you the in-person stuff? I mean, think about it. It's kind of a sophisticated offer to some extent. Like it's for people who are serious and they're not tire kicking or rainbow chasing. So it's really for somebody who is probably doing close to 10K a month. They're trying to get to 20, 30, 40, 50K a month. And then ultimately they have dreams of 100K more a month. So opportunities like this is a great part. Like inside of my sales funnel is to interact with guys like Jeff so that I can interact with folks like you. And if you're ready to rock and roll, we jump on a call together and we talk. And if it's a good fit, it's not high pressure. And the Money Line workshop is not my core business. It's my passion play.
I love the the way you've branded that, by the way. Like, I've got the Wallet Out campaign. You've got the Moneyline Workshop. Like, everybody that's got a cool name just immediately makes more money. Like, if you guys are watching, just have like a cool name for what you do, and you'll make more money. Stop talking about Facebook ads. Talk about cool stuff. But
yeah. Like, I don't even care about Facebook Pixel Helper anymore. Like, just help me get beyond the money line, right? That's what we're all about. Yep.
Fantastic. So we've got like a bunch of responses so far. I want to say Reno Pace, Rich Toy, and Isaac Gonzalez. I'll connect the three of you to Josh Rhodes. That was the first three people that popped up. So I'm super psyched. Reno, by the way, just broke his own agency record. So it'd be great if you could help him notch up and stuff like that. So I hope it's really fruitful conversation.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic, Josh. One last comment. Like, if there's one thing that you think like somebody should be taking away from this interview, if they've only got like 30 seconds, like what's like the big number one thing that you really think is going to help them accomplish their goals and move forward? Is it harvest and make sure you land that middle tier offer? Is it the hub and spoke? It can't be hustle. I don't want it to be hustle. You know what I mean? But like, what are your like last comments?
No, it's 80-20 principle stuff. Like 20% of your activity creates 80% of your results. So, okay, what am I going to spend 20% of my time on after hearing this? I'm going to go to the whiteboard or to my current customers. I'm going to work on my offer. Like you got to make sure that offer is just nailed, because the best sales script in the world can't sell an offer that doesn't matter or is irrelevant. So yeah, figure out a good offer.
Good stuff. We're going to bring the sucker to a close. Don't hang up. Just got to end the broadcast.
Sure.
Josh, thanks so much. I appreciate the time. Everyone, you're going to get your invites. Kick ass, take some names, go make some money.